Hello, my friend. Welcome to the Believe You Are a Good Mom podcast. I'm Emily Wardrop from Drop the Word Life Coaching, where we help moms of young kids drop power struggle wars to create more peace in their parenting. Do you want to be a good mom? I will tell you the one simple secret of how to be a good mom. You already are. Don't believe me? You've come to the right place. I'm glad you're here. I've got you. Because when you truly believe you are a good mom, everything will change for you as you live into the truth of who you've always been. Let's get started. Good morning, friends. I have a really exciting podcast here for you. I am going to talk all things service, selfishness, and newborn babies. Okay. So this is Emily Wardrop from Drop the Word Life Coaching, where we help moms of young kids drop power struggle wars with their littles. And the way we do that is by believing that we are a good mom. And if all of that sounds kind of wild and like, how are we connecting the dots here exactly? Stay tuned. I will explain. So, service, selfishness, and newborn babies. Okay. I'm going to debunk our idea of these three things. I have so much to say about these three things. Where do I begin? Okay. First of all, let's talk about the phases of life. Okay. So, we know to all things there's a season, right? We know this is a biblical idea made mainstream by the Beatles, right? To all things there's a season. I will spare you from breaking out into song, but you might have it rolling in your head now. Anyway, I just have been thinking about this so much because I always wanted to be a mom ever since I was a kid. Like when people asked me what I wanted to be when I grew up, I said a mom. And lately, I've been considering why is that? Because what I preach is that your desires are who you are. We get a glimpse into who we eternally are, who our soul really is when we tap into what we want, our desires. So I wanted to be a mom. Okay. And so for a minute there, I was considering that maybe I wanted to be a mom because of cultural conditioning, right? Because at church, we talk about how being a mom is awesome and you want to be a mom and just go to college, but you're going to college to find a husband and make babies. And that's your whole purpose in life and all the things. Like that's the way now I tell the story of how I interpreted the message I was getting at church, right? And so I'm like, did I even want to be a mom, or was it just social conditioning or church conditioning or whatever, So this morning I decided to just drop that stupid story because every morning I get in tune with who I am. I just got off that in tuning call, which, by the way, if you're interested in doing that, Tyson Bradley has opened it up to all and anyone. And he's got this 2-week free trial period. You can try his whole inherent identity thing, which I'm a huge fan of. I've been kind of a guinea pig in this whole thing all year. And you can try it for free for 14 days, which basically means you can come jump on these calls with us in the morning and a ton of other stuff, like so much stuff. And so anyway, on these calls, it's like kind of a meditation, a prayer, just getting in tune with who we are, right? And so this morning I'm getting again that I am a mom. I'm like, yeah. But really, like, my desire to be a mom was not cultural conditioning. It was a true yearning of my soul. I worked at motherhood maternity long before I had my own kids. What is that about? The motherhood maternity store at the mall, like I didn't work at the Gap. Actually, I did work at Gap Kids. Hello. Later. There's something to this. So, and now I'm done with babies, but I still get so emotional whenever Tyson just had a newborn baby, and Luca, the bringer of light, is on our calls sometimes. And I like get so emotional when I see that baby. So that's why we're gonna delve into newborn babies today too. Because all of this, this whole episode came from my inherent tuning this morning. And that is my reminder to do my weekly email. which is what I was planning on doing during this time. But instead, this podcast came to me. So I'm sharing it with you. Okay. And I'll get to my email in a minute. So I'm done with babies now, but I still get super emotional. So what is that about? And I decided I am, right? Because this is what we're always doing, is defining who we are, right? What is our inherent identity? Because we give ourselves identities all day long. And it's mostly because of things we do, right? Which is what I'm trying to debunk all the time on this podcast. You're not a good mom because of what you do or don't do. You just are a good mom. So who are you? I am a baby whisperer. And I am a newborn mom whisperer. So I received these identities this morning from heaven. Like inherent identity, what that means is like our divine identity, right? Like who we really are in an eternal perspective, like our real celestial self who existed before this life and is going to exist forever. And we're just sort of in this mortal life right now for a minute. And who really are we in a more eternal sense, right? With no beginning and no end. So apparently I am a baby whisperer. I have a little bit of evidence of that here and there, like when I'm relaxed enough and excited enough to hold someone else's baby and they're, freaking out with their poor stressed out mom. And then I can take the baby and it calms right down. Like that's happened enough times that I can like identify with it because that's a do. See how that's how our brains work is like, oh yeah, I have evidence for that. Like that's happened before. That's like the do. And so I can believe this identity because I've seen it in action. I've seen evidence for it. And I'm trying to debunk that, that like I can believe things whether I have evidence or not because I've just felt it. So I felt it this morning that I'm a baby whisperer, right? And I'm a newborn mom whisperer. So I'm like, oh, wow. Okay. Well, yeah, because at Drop the Word Life Coaching, we're all about helping moms of young kids, which includes newborn babies. Those are very young kids, right? And I've been in the business of making babies for 8 years, and I've had 5 newborns in the past. Well, I guess it's been 9 years, whatever. Anyway, by now. So I do have some experience being a newborn baby mom, and there are definitely things that I want to whisper to you, Mama, if you are a newborn baby mom. Okay. So, what would I want to whisper her? I want to tell you it's okay. It's okay. Whatever it is you're worried about, it's okay. You're doing it. You're amazing. You're doing great. If you don't believe that, believe that you are good and your worth does not depend on your productivity. I want to shout that from the rooftops always, but I want to whisper it to you, newborn mom. Your worth does not depend on your productivity. You just had a baby. You do not need to be doing anything. You need to just be. You are good. You are a mom now. Like, you've always been a mom because you had the desire to be a mom. And now you have the physical evidence in your arms. You have that sweet baby. There's nothing else you need to do to prove that you are a good mom. Nothing. You are a good mom. It's who you are. And you need to rest. You just had a baby. Rest. And rest is so important. So, the rest of this episode about service, selfishness, and newborn babies is about phases, seasons, cycles, rest, work, and mostly I just want to whisper to you that your worth does not depend on your productivity. It just doesn't. And if you can grasp that while you're holding a brand new baby, I can't tell you how different your mothering is going to be for the rest of your life, because I'm talking to moms all the time whose kids are grown and gone, and they still think that their worth depends on their productivity. And they're stressed and anxious and busy and just like life doesn't have to be like that. I'm a life coach, right? I coach people on their life, and people are stressed, they're overworked, they're underrested. And it's because we think that what we do makes who we are, and it doesn't. What you do is just what you do. What you don't do is just what you didn't do. It's like it's a whole different thing than who you are. Who you are is good. And when you believe that, now what do you want to do? And when you can relax and breathe and just be who you are, then you can tap into your own wisdom of what you want to do. I spent all those years making babies trying to figure out how to do it right, reading all the books, getting even more confused, getting even more stressed out. And a stressed out mama does not make the most peaceful parenting, right? So I'm a peaceful parenting life coach. I am all about you parenting from a peaceful place. And I promise the number one secret on how to do that is to believe that you are a good mom. Okay. From the get go, you just birthed a baby. You are a good mom. Okay. Even if literally you've done absolutely nothing with that baby because it's been in like the NICU the whole time, the nurses are taking care of it, and you just have to rest. You're resting because that is what you need. Okay. And your baby is being taken care of. It doesn't have to be you that's doing it 100% of the time. I promise. So we're going to talk about that here some more. Okay. But first, okay. So service, selfishness, and newborn baby service. Let's talk about service. We're going to debunk these words because words have a lot of meaning, right? And all I say is service. And where does your mind go? What are you thinking? How are you feeling when I say the word service because of those thoughts? It is very loaded to me lately. Okay, let's start with I want you to think about this for yourself, but this has been my experience the past couple while. Okay. Christmas. Okay, Christmas. Oh, glorious Christmas. It's over now. And so I'm having different thoughts about it than I was in November when I was excited about it. Okay, so part of the Christmas spirit is the spirit of giving, right? And yesterday on Marco Polo, I lost my I just broke down and was crying with my friends about how I don't think I ever got in the spirit of giving this year. I did like the bare minimum gifts to just check the boxes that yeah. And that bare minimum did not include teacher gifts, neighbor gifts, friend gifts. I was not shipping things across the country to my best friend like she did to me. I did not have any neighbor gifts ready for when neighbors came and dropped things off to me so that I could like check that box off and get it off my guilty conscience that, oh, they gave me something, so I have something to give them too. I made absolutely zero effort in doing any of that. And I said that I was going to do it with no guilt. It's like, if they're in the spirit of giving, then I will graciously accept and gain 20 pounds from their delicious treats. And and I will graciously say thank you, and I will not feel guilty for not having anything to give them back. But clearly, those thoughts didn't stick because I was still feeling the guilt yesterday and trying to convince myself that I didn't. So I was trying to make it not mean that I'm a selfish, entitled brat sitting in my house doing whatever I want to do because I'm on this big kick about I just want to do what I want to do. And what I want to do does not involve, getting teacher gifts or neighbor gifts or friend gifts or anybody except the quote unquote bare minimum. Right. And so I was trying not to make it mean that I'm a selfish brat, entitled, and that word too. Okay. So on top of presents, while I'm doing this self coaching, essentially, AKA trying not to beat myself up, AKA beating myself up and resisting it. In the moments of doing that, my neighbors are outside shoveling my driveway. And there I go again, trying not to make that mean that I like all these negative things about myself. And as I was self coaching myself about this and trying to believe new thoughts so that I didn't feel so terrible about myself, because of course I'm still in selfishness, trying to make myself feel better, still not concerned at all about the neighbors, just about myself. I was, I forget where I was going with that. The point is that when I was done having my little pity party, right, I gave myself a little pep talk about how I'm not selfish. I spend all day long serving these 5 little kids. This is a season of life I'm in. It's all good. It's okay. Give myself the mommy whispering, you are a good mom pep talk, right? But, and some of it stuck. And some of it clearly is still a festering wound that I need to heal myself through this podcast, right? So here's the thing. I was only thinking about myself and making it mean a bunch of craptastic, untrue thoughts about myself. And the secret to losing yourself, to find yourself, is think about other people. So when I think about those amazing neighbors who are selflessly giving service, they're in a different season of life. and they're happy to do the service. And hello, service is always going to be one person giving service, one person receiving service. So the act of receiving is also service, and it's uncomfortable, and we are not used to it because we are the ones who are giving service all the time, right? And it's because we make it mean that we are more worthy. If our worthiness did not depend on what we do or don't do, then this whole issue would be dropped. Okay? Because we are not worthless because we're sitting in our house letting someone else shovel our driveway. They're not more worthy because they're out serving. We are all 100% worthy no matter what, full stop. And now what do we want to do? I have a neighbor with this new toy that he loves playing with, this 4-wheeler shoveler thing. And it was so fun to watch him enjoying using that on my driveway because he had this big smile. He was happy because he was serving. He was happy because he had this fun new toy that was like so fun. And even the parts that didn't look fun, like he had to get off of his little truck things. I don't know what it's called exactly. I forget right now because when the emotions are high, logic is low. I don't know what words are called when I'm super emotional. I keep trying to explain this to my kids because they're like, Mom, it wasn't the kitchen, it was the mudroom. I'm like, I know, but when I'm pitching a fit about you not putting your shoes where they belong, then I can't even think of the right words. Anyway, I digress, as I always do. We love tangents around here. Anyway, he was loving life and enjoying that he was giving the service, that he had this fun new tool that he could. And even in the parts, oh, that's where I was, that didn't look that fun, where you had to like get up off and like shovel off the snow and then so that he could keep going. Like all service is not like fun and games, but I just let myself enjoy watching him enjoy it instead of beating myself up about it. That kind of like it devalues his whole service if I don't receive it well, right? And so here I am beating myself up again about beating myself up. See these layers of shame we have to work through. Am I the only one? Am I the only one? Even if I'm the only one and this whole podcast is just for myself, what else? That's, not selfish. Okay. So all I'm trying to do is demonstrate with my example of how we do this. I know that we do this because I'm a coach and I'm a client in coaching programs. So I hear a lot of people getting coached about these sort of things. So I know I'm not alone. Okay. Let's debunk selfishness then. Have we debunked service enough? Because I can go on talking about how, in fact, I will. Okay, let's talk about phases of life a little bit again, because it seems so very unfair, the phases of life, right? I was single forever, just wanted to be a mom. Okay. I was working at a motherhood maternity store when I just wanted to be a mom, but I was a single person and I just wanted to be married and have babies. And instead, I was just helping other people buy new clothes for their changing bodies that they couldn't fit into their wardrobe anymore. And they needed new clothes and they just wanted to complain about how fat they looked. And I just wanted to smack them in the face and be like, hello, you are pregnant. You are finally being a mom. That's all I've ever wanted to do. Who cares if you don't fit into your old clothes? You have a human being growing in your body. And that seemed a little unfair, right? Then I finally was a mom and it was not all it was cracked up to be. And I was like, hello, all I've ever wanted was this. Why am I such an entitled brat? Right? It's like, why do I feel so terrible when this is all I ever wanted and now I have it? Why am I not more grateful and all the things, right? Seemed a little unfair, right? Then my house is full of littles. It's all I ever wanted, right? And I still feel terrible, even though I have the coaching tools and I'm beating myself up about having the tools. And anyway, it's all unfair. So all I want is a little alone time. So unfair that I have to wake up at 5 a.m. to get some alone time. And I just need some time alone. And then apparently, before you know it, this phase is going to end and I'm going to be alone in my house and be an empty nester. And all I want is for the kids to come back. I just want to spend time with the grandkids. I just want to not have so much alone time. It's like, what are these phases of life? Why are they so uneven? You know, I've given up on the idea of unfair. And I preach it to my kids all the time because I have one in particular who really likes to use that word. This is not fair. And what she really means is it's not fair in her favor. Anyway, I think we've talked about that before. Anyway. Okay. So life is not fair. Okay. It's not supposed to be. You don't learn anything from fairness. You don't learn anything from ease. You don't learn anything from rainbows and daisies. Okay. Unicorns and rainbows and flowers. That's what these girls love. Right. And anything other than that is so unfair. Actually, in an eternal perspective, it's all rigged in your favor. If it seems like it's not, because we're in this life and it seems like it's all rigged out of your favor because you just can't catch a break. It's just more things on top of more things on top of more things. At least there is the faith and the hope that it's all rigged in our eternal favor. That literally everything you're going through right now is part of God's divine algorithm for you. It's perfectly rigged that you have the experience in this life that you need to be having. For some reason, trying to figure out the reason I find to be totally pointless. It doesn't matter. The point is to endure it well, to learn the lessons we need to learn from it. And a lot of these lessons involve our body. Okay. This episode might feel like it's all over the place, but that's how you roll. So just roll with me. The point of this life was to come down and get a body. Okay. We were spirit children before this life. We've always been who we are in our spirit, but we needed a body. Why? I want you to ponder on what is so important about having a body. One of the things that I've been learning a lot lately about our body is about emotions. This is a whole nother podcast for another time. But one of the things that is so important about having a body is emotions. Emotions are felt in the body. Okay. And so getting our bodies and our brains and our hearts and our emotions and our thoughts and our feelings, all that figured out and aligned is the whole point. Okay. The whole point of having a body is to get this stuff figured out. So I don't remember what that was a tangent off of. You know what tangents remind me of? Trees. I love trees. I look out this window. Actually, if it's too dark outside, my shades are still closed. Yeah, it's still dark. But I love it when it's light enough outside that I can open my shades and look at the trees outside because trees are tangents. The branches on a tree, that's how my brain works, like a tree. And how boring would a tree be if it was like just a stump, you know, like just the whatever that part down the middle is called without the branches. And so anyway, just roll with the tree here. Okay. I do have some notes to ground me back into what I'm trying to talk about. So, oh yeah, we're talking about how life is unfair. Okay. Of course it is, because life is not supposed to be easy. It's rigged in our eternal perspective favor. So it's not our current comfort level ease. That's not the point. We didn't come down here to just hang out in our cozy blankets and enjoy ease, right? We do need rest, and I'll get back to that because that was like the trunk. That's what it's called. The trunk of the tree is what I want to whisper to newborn moms, but all this other stuff is good too. Okay, so the bottom line is do not beat yourself up for your current season that you are in. Okay, that's my point. So your current season, mama, is you just had a baby. I promise you that there are seasons of life. And it does not feel like it when you are in the season you're in. But think about the seasons of the year. We are in the dead of winter, like feet of snow right now. And you cannot look at my yard full of snow and even believe that someday there'll be flowers there and green and or look at the dead trees, right? With all the tangents. You can see the tangents right now because there's no leaves. You can't even imagine, like you cannot believe right now the beautiful colors of fall on those same trees. Like when you're seeing it completely dead and barren and covered in snow, which is kind of pretty, but you cannot imagine the gorgeousness of those fall leaves or how beautiful it is in the spring or the summer. It's like every season is so beautiful in its own way. And when you look at all that snow, it's like, or how about in a parking lot where the snow plows push it to the side and it's not beautiful anymore. And it's just gucky, nasty, gray parking lot, disgusting snow. And the pile is so big, it's like taking up a whole bunch of parking spaces. And you're like so annoyed because you can't find a parking spot because the snow is taking up half the parking lot. Even all of that snow will be gone one day in the state. I don't know about other parts of the world, but we have 4 seasons here and they are all beautiful in their own way. And when you're in the thick of one of them and it doesn't feel like beautiful snow on the rooftops, it feels like the disgusting parking lot snow. There is hope because you've seen the evidence of it in previous seasons that snow, even all that nasty huge pile of snow that takes up half the parking lot, will be gone one day. And you will be able to park at that store again in the spring, maybe the summer, if the winter lasts too long. But the point is, all the seasons are 50-50. Okay, they're beautiful and they're disgusting, but they all end. It's a season. It's cyclical. Like life, I feel like all these things in nature are to teach us about our eternal selves. And this life is cyclical. You are cyclical, mama. Like maybe you haven't learned that much about your menstrual cycle yet, but there's a lot to be learned there and a lot to be learned there about this more to life and our bodies and all the point and the emotions and the hormones and all the things. There's so much to be learned from our bodies and the way our bodies work. And you are cyclical. Okay. And I find myself like that's too much to learn. Like I don't have the bandwidth right now to learn the ins and outs, but I do know enough to give myself grace when I am feeling the feels and I'm like, I'm sure it has something to do with my cycle. And I'm like, I'm just at a part of my cycle. Okay. And I'm not the first one to have this thought, right? Like we can use the whole idea of PMS to our favor, not against us, right? I'm just PMSing right now. Have more compassion for yourself, more compassion. Like just give it to yourself because your kids and your husband, they do not get it. They will, maybe your daughters will get it someday, but your husband will never get it. Your sons will never understand what you're going through. And in fact, every single person's experience in this life is different. So no one understands exactly what you're going through except for Jesus Christ. And the way that he did that is he's never been a woman. He doesn't understand, but it's this emotion thing. Okay. But that's subject for another time. Anyway, the point is, don't beat yourself up for the current season that you're in. Okay. You need to treat yourself with love and tenderness and kindness and compassion. And hello, you just birthed a baby. No matter how that baby was delivered, you just birthed a baby and your body has been through trauma. Like it's literally traumatic. And we add to the trauma of birth by expectation stories. So the expectations that you had of how it was going to go, the expectations of yourself after, the expectations of how your baby's going to be, the expectations of how you're going to be and feel and do and all the things. These are stories that we made up in our heads that we need to check. We need to check our stories and be like, is this even realistic? Is this even possible? Is this realistic for me today to be doing this big long list of expectations that Emily Wardrop at Drop the War Life Coaching is always talking about, dropping that list, right? I'm telling you, it starts before the baby's even born, that list. Before any babies are born. When you work at motherhood maternity, when in the whole decade of your 20s, when you wish you were making babies, but you're not. It happens when you're a kid and you're just being conditioned in your own brain by what your mom's doing. This list is extensive and it's very hard to just drop it. So we have to get awareness of what's even on the list. So what are your expectations of yourself, Mama? Right there in the hospital room, you just gave birth. Why is it so hard for you to just lay there and rest? I'm telling you, by baby number 5, I was like, just get me out of here. Like, I have 5 kids I need to take care of. Get me out of here. I do not need to spend any more time in the hospital. My baby's fine. I'm fine. Let's go. And so we did. We spent like hardly any time in the hospital. I was like, yeah, I've done this. I know what I'm doing. Just let me out of here. Why? Why was I in such a hurry to come home to take care of all these kids? Why didn't I just enjoy the opportunity I had to rest? Because we link our worth to our productivity. You do not need to be productive right now. You just spent 9 months producing a child. Even if you were not doing anything with your body, inside your body was doing stuff, a lot of stuff, miraculous, unbelievable stuff. And it still is. The healing that you're going through after you have a baby, if you're nursing, the unbelievable machine that your body is to be able to produce that milk for your baby. Oh my goodness. The more you learn about these things about your body, the more you realize you are doing, even if you are just sitting. Just sitting is doing something. Okay. Even if you're long past the baby phase, your body is giving you all the signals you need to know what you need to be doing. Okay. So my timer is telling me that it's time to kind of wrap up. So let's talk about, let me run through the notes real quick to see if I hit all of this. Okay. So what do I want to whisper to you? It's okay. You're amazing. You're doing great. If you don't believe that you are good and your worth is not dependent on your productivity. Okay. You may not feel like you're doing great, but you are good. It's who you are. And you don't need to be doing great, okay? So other cultures respect cycles. They respect the maternity leave. Like we have this thing we call maternity leave from work. But hello, even if you're not working, you need maternity leave. Like you need a rest cycle after you've given a baby birth, life. So all this is hindsight for me. I did not do any of this. I promise you. I'm like, that's why I'm ranting or raving about this, because I'm like, I totally missed the boat on all of this. So that's why I want to coach moms who like help you do things that I wish I had done. Right. So, anyway, it's just Western culture, I think. I don't know. I don't live anywhere else, but this is what I hear, that we value work so much, but we need rest and work. Right. Another nature cycle that you can see is the sun and the moon, right? The day and the night. Every single day we need rest, right? And our bodies know that. Our bodies know when we're tired, when we're legit tired. And it may not happen at nighttime, but you need to follow your body's cues. God gave you a body it is the we always say, like, he didn't give us a rule book for motherhood, or he didn't give us a rule book for whatever. Like, we have the scriptures, but they're kind of vague. Like, I need a specific rule book. And that's why we're all writing books all the time, because we're trying to help people. Like, I'll tell you what the best guidebook is your body. Your body. That's what he gave you. When you came down to earth, he gave you a body, and the body has emotions and sensations and feelings, and all the things are messages to tell us how to live. Okay. Podcast for another time on that tangent. So, but your body's been doing so much work, even while you were resting, when you were pregnant, still as if you're nursing and you're recovering. Okay, so don't add to the trauma with your stories of unmet expectations. We talked a little bit about that. Okay. All right, so we got all those notes. What's it say over here? Cycles, seasons, listen to your body, emotions. Okay, God gave you all the answers you need in your body. Okay, I've covered all the notes. So let's sum up. Service. It's great. Don't let your thoughts about service, the litmus test, right? When you think about service, what are those thoughts? Now, are those thoughts serving you? Are they serving your kids? Are they? Are they? If not, drop the war on those thoughts. Okay. Let's rethink service. What do you want to think that service means? Same with selfishness. Oh my gosh. Whole new podcast on selfishness. Only touched on it very briefly. We could go into this so much. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Don't even with the can of worms about selfishness. Point is, what are your thoughts about it? Are they serving you? Are they serving your kids? Are they serving your family? Are they serving your life? If not, drop the war on those thoughts, okay? And newborn babies, oh my goodness. They're perfect. They're 100% worthy. You look at that baby and you never think, oh, she's such a terrible baby. Even if they're not, quote unquote, healthy. You know? How we're like, well, as long as they're healthy. No. Or even, well, as long as they're alive. No. Even if they didn't live, they are. They were so special. They are so special that they didn't even need a body for that long. Sorry, just one second. So that is the closest we can get to believing our worth is looking at a newborn baby. Like the worth that that baby has. She hasn't done a thing except be born. And she's 100% worthy. At what point do we switch that story up in our minds that we think that our productivity is what makes us worthy? No. Trust me, Mama. You are good. Okay? Your kids are good no matter what they're doing. I promise. No matter how they're behaving, they are good at who they are. And I promise you, if we could actually believe that about ourselves, about our kids, about every other human on this planet, imagine what a different world it would be. Talk to you next time. Bye. Hi, thanks so much for listening. Have you signed up for your RBC yet? What is an RBC? Well, it's a relationship boost call, and I am gifting 365 of these for free this year. So go to dropthewar.com/appointments to find a time that works for both of us. We'll hop on Zoom for a quick 15 to 20 minutes, and all you got to do is have somebody in mind that you want to improve your relationship with. It's fun, it's easy, it's a good time. You're going to feel amazing afterwards. And no strings attached. Just come on, have a great free coaching call, and then go on your way. And you can come back for as many as you need because we know it's no one and done around here with relationships. So go to dropthewar.com/appointments to find a time that works for both of us. And let's get boosting those relationships. See you there. Bye.